20.
Now we can start. We have Rob here. He counts.
That's the
counts.
It's a sad morning.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, do we have a...
Feels like we're playing Red Rover here, Jim. Two
I know. Welcome, everybody. It seems like it's been forever since we've had our last meeting, but it's nice to get going again. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from November?
On the first round.
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Great. I guess that was quick. We can turn it all over to you now then, Reed.
I too don't count, Tom. Okay. Thanks for being here. We've got some important stuff to talk to you guys about. Over the past year, we've been doing some master plan updates just to make sure that we are on target to invest in our infrastructure and replace stuff that's aging and meet regulations that seem to be ever increasing from EPA in some of these areas. So what we'll be discussing today is our three water utilities: water, wastewater, and stormwater. And we will be looking at the projects that have been identified. The email that was sent to you had links to the master plan, the draft master plans. They're lengthy documents and not the greatest read, but we'll be going over the main details of which projects need to be done and discussing why. We probably don't have time to go over each of them, so I've highlighted a few in this presentation and provided you with these handouts that as you look through them, if you have questions about any of them, we'd be happy to talk about them. So let's dive in. So first of all, this is the outline. We'll go over a little bit of brief history, then we'll review the projects in the sewer master plan, we'll review the projects in the stormwater master plan, then view the projects in the water master plan, and then we'll show what our next steps moving forward are. So first of all, brief summary. Back in 2016, shortly after I started in this position, the city underwent a significant effort to create bona fide, written down master plans for its utilities. In the past, prior to that, there wasn't the stormwater had a master plan, but it wasn't as in depth as we needed it to be. It didn't show these are the projects that you should do and schedule something out. So in 2016, that's when we created the master plans for each utility. Associated with those were rate studies. We worked with Lewis, Young, Roberts, and Birmingham back in the day, and they looked at the master plans, saw what the estimated costs would be, and said these are what your rates need to be in order for you to construct these projects. At that particular time, the city council wanted us to pay for these projects on a pay-as-you-go basis. And so we started to save money because these projects were significantly cost a lot of money. And so started to chip away at a few of the projects, saving for, in particular, the tank project that's going in right now, as well as the well and pump house. After a couple of years, it seemed that we couldn't save enough money. Construction costs started to go up even before COVID, but there was also a desire by the city council to lower water rates, and we told them that if we did that, this pay-as-you-go program that we had would not be successful. We could not save enough money. So a solution to that was to bond for projects, to go in to borrow. That was something that we communicated to the city council, that these are generational projects. The one group of people right now that are paying rates shouldn't have to pay for an entire project that's going to benefit the community for the next 75 years, 75 plus years. And so by bonding, we were able to get the projects done faster, and interestingly lower the water rates, which was the desire of the council, because we were just making payments instead of saving up and paying for projects in cash. So we also have implemented impact fees at the same time to developers. It's kind of crazy to think that impact fees weren't really charged to developers up until this point. But as new development comes in, they have an impact on the community that the rest of the community has already absorbed. We've already paid for many of the costs, so it's kind of a buy-in. Okay, yeah, welcome to our city, but we paid for this stuff. We need to contribute something to the investment that we've made. So we implemented impact fees at that time as well. We had to we updated the plans. We try to do it about every 5 years or so. Updated the plans in 2021, and we are actually impact fees were in 2019, weren't they? Yeah, so impact fees came a little bit later. It's time to update the impact fees as well. So we're taking this opportunity to update all of the master plans because they have to be updated first. You have to identify the projects that you're going to do within the next 10 years in order for those projects to qualify in the calculations for impact fees. And so we're updating those now. So that's just a quick history of what's gone on since 2016. So let's
Can I ask, about a year ago, we had a presentation. Is this kind of the follow-up to that presentation?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've actually, you'll notice if you've the master plans were actually, water and sewer were completed, the drafts were completed back in April, but the stormwater master plan, our consultant just was losing employees and just couldn't finish it. Despite us cracking the whip, it just didn't get done until December 31st was the date that they have on the master plan. So now we're presenting all three to them. So we had hoped to have it done sooner, but unfortunately didn't. But that's a great question. Now's a follow-up. I guess so the sewer master plan. So the sewer master plan essentially contains two master plans. The first is the capital facilities plan, or the information from the capital facilities plan is part of the master plan. Capital facilities plan is specific to our water reclamation facility. What's needed at the water reclamation facility, and that's what we see on the first page. Those are the projects over the next 5 years that need to be done at the water reclamation facility. It was adopted back in 2022. It's a 25-year plan. We've broken it up into 4 phases, so that we're doing something we're focusing on projects every 6 years or so. We created that because, as I mentioned a little earlier, regulations continue to change, and we need to add processes that will help us meet those regulations. And also, it is an aging facility. We have to rehabilitate and replace much of the equipment and structures that are there. There's earthquake concerns as well. The sewer master plan refers to the capital facilities plan, but it's in the past it's mostly been specific to the collection system, or the pipes that go throughout the city that collect the sewer from all of our residents. And that shows areas that we will need to upsize due to anticipated growth, or replace them because they're aging. It also includes a line item for annual pipelining projects. We have one going on right now where a crew will go and they will line the inside of the pipe, which extends the life of the pipe another 50 to 75 years. A lot easier and cheaper than ripping the road up and replacing the pipe. Very effective process.
What do they line it with, Rick?
It's a plastic.
And you shoot it from some far distance because you don't need to tear up the road?
It's from manhole to manhole, so it's no more than 400 feet.
Okay.
It's a resin, it's a sock resin that they blow it in, and then they fill it up and steam it, and then it cures inside the pipe.
Thank you.
And then they send a little machine to cut the holes for the laterals to flow into the.
It's really pretty cool.
Yeah.
It is. And then, like Reed said, it extends the life in another 50 to
You want to show a
75 feet.
video of that in one of our work sessions?
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
We have that.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It must be what they're doing in our neighborhood then,
Maybe.
because I couldn't figure out what that was, but yeah, you
You
have
see
a lot of
people at the
steam.
two manholes, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
X
Yeah.
feet apart.
What's your address, Jim? Reed or Ryan could tell you.
Just off of Main Street and 800 North.
Yeah, they're doing several sections in that area.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
all
Wondered what they were
65.
doing.
What we're doing is investing in your neighborhood.
There you go. Perfect.
Okay, so the sewer master plan was updated in April of 2024, collection system, and then it also refers to the capital facilities plan. So we've got here, I've listed the first couple phases of the capital facilities plan here, and which just have a few highlighted here on the screen, but there are more on the spreadsheets that I've shared with you. First of all, struvite mitigation. Struvite is a buildup of phosphorus in the pipes. There's certain processes that cause phosphorus to precipitate out, and it becomes problematic when your pipes get filled with a thick layer of a solid material. So we need to. We have worked. This project is moving right along. It's been designed. It's ready to go out to bid. We will be using some federal funds that we received to pay for this portion of the plan. Unfortunately, working with the EPA is a little slow. So despite it being ready to go, we can't move forward because we need to make sure that we comply with everything that the EPA has. We received this funding through at the time Representative Curtis's office, and we were pleased to receive that.
Like 21 or 2 or so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you think about a body that has cholesterol, and if your arteries start to clog, then bad things happen. That's what's happening at the sewer plant at that kind of level. And when it gets into your pumps and so forth, well, that's your heart. And so we're trying to maintain that system and make sure it's clean and running smoothly and efficiently.
So we got a grant. Do we have the cash yet?
No.
So we have to jump through these hoops to get the cash.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, and what we're constructing is the medication that will help.
The
Yes.
statin.
It's
Yeah.
the statin.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
We're all familiar with these terms. I'm glad you're here.
We also have need to make some improvements to our disinfection area where we use UV light to disinfect the water before it's discharged to Utah Lake. That includes adding a couple more channels to allow more water to flow through. It's a bit undersized, and to add more UV units. It also consists of a of a screen that will pull out debris that gets into the channel. And you'd think, why would debris get into the channel towards the end of the treatment process? Oh, we get ducks and different animals that die and float down and get stuck on the UV bulbs. We also, the clarifiers have a lot of algae growth that our crews go and have to clean off, and the big clumps of algae can gum up the UV bulbs as well. So the fact that it's a bit undersized, and we know that additional flow will be coming in the future, this is a high priority project. We also need to invest in the electrical systems of the treatment plant. As a lot of the electrical components have 15-year lifespans, and we're on borrowed time on many of that. Another bigger project that we're doing, which I don't know if the $10 million estimate's accurate or not, but we have our engineering firm, Waterworks, that we've worked with for 5 years now. They're designing a new dewatering facility. That's where you take the biosolids that are produced and dry them out by pressing them somehow. Right now we have belt presses. We're looking at screw presses that will do the same thing more efficiently. And so we need a new building there. So a building plus these presses. Biosolids are becoming a big issue, particularly with the microplastic problems. In fact, Chris and I have a meeting today to discuss some regional ideas to handle biosolids because it's becoming so concerning.
What Reed's referring to is PFAS and PFAS, so plastics, microplastics in the water could be conveyed into the sewer treatment plant, and then if we were to land apply any of this, it could be hazardous for those agricultural facilities if we had microplastics in our waste product. And so fortunately we don't have it in our water supply, but if there's some that get into the system between where we supply it and where we receive it at that facility, then we have to process that.
We're dealing with parts per trillion here, which is such a small amount. But when I mentioned increased regulations, this is a perfect example. I juxtapose this to a presentation that I heard a couple years ago at a Water Environment Association of Utah conference, where one of the operators from Snyderville Basin attended a competition in Colombia, Cali, Colombia, and they took a tour of their treatment plant there, and it consisted of primary treatment, which is going through clarifier, of headworks and clarifiers, and chlorination. That's all they did. So that's just boggles my mind that that's acceptable anywhere in the world, and here we're dealing with parts per trillion of PFAS. Now, it is a health concern, and we, as government agencies, get to deal with that. So, moving on, 2026 improvements to our oxidation ditch, which is the primary treatment process where the culture of microorganisms is, and we continually feed them with the sewer flow. Then rebuilding clarifiers that are in bad shape, and then also the maintenance building. The maintenance building will be we will repurpose the current biosolids building. We're building a new biosolids building, and then we'll repurpose by taking the belt presses out and creating a newer, safer space for our for the operators that are on our maintenance crew.
We have a substantial amount of original equipment, materials, not equipment, but structures at the facility. So our primary clarifiers were built in 1958, to give you an idea, and so they're almost 7 years old. They've done a really good job for us, but it's aging like everything else.
Reed, I might have missed it. Which process improvements or additions are intended to address the PFAS?
The dewatering. Well, the dewatering has to occur, but we're designing it so that if we do something regional, we will be able to haul more than we're currently designed to haul. We're not really treating to remove it. We can't remove it with the treatment processes that we have. It's the disposal site that has to comply with whatever regulations the state comes up with, or with the feds come up with. Does that make sense? So if we, incineration is a potential need. Land applying it currently is allowed, which is what we do right now. But if it becomes very strict about land application, we'll have to figure something else out.
It's just a matter of containing it
Yeah,
versus eliminating it, which we could do
yeah.
at a price.
Okay, some odor control upgrades, primary sludge. I'm trying to remember what primary. Oh, just some improvements in the primary sludge handling structures, and then the grit chamber. That's part of the headworks, or right after the headworks. Removing grit from the system. 2.2 million there. In 2028, primary digester upgrades. Of $8 million. Then we move on to phase 2, this sludge thickening and electrical systems at 6.8, 7.4 million in 2030, and upgrade to the headworks.
Now, Reed, are these projects all pay as you go, or are they?
No, well,
bonding?
we'll get to, you're jumping to the end of the
Oh, okay.
of the program
Sorry.
here, but we will be we're meeting with Lewis Roberts in Birmingham today. They're doing the rate study, and they'll be recommending how we pay for these things.
Okay.
Bonding is definitely has to be an option in order for us to do this number of projects this quickly.
And they would group these, so you'd have several bonds, right?
Yes, right.
Okay.
And be 4 over the next 20 years.
Yeah, when the capital facilities plan was completed back in 2022, it was a $160 million plan, broken up into $40 million bonds
Okay.
every 5 years or so. So Lewis Roberts in Birmingham will say, all right, this is what you have to do in order to fund these projects.
And unlike other city payments, this is paid for by the users.
That's correct, yeah. These are all utility fees.
Yep.
So the utility rates need to go up. It's not a tax. It's, you use this is what it costs. We're all in this together. We're paying to make sure that we have clean water and have a healthy environment around us. It's just what it costs. And
Yep.
you know, the alternative is to plug everybody's line and have them deal with the waste. But they're not going to want to do that for sure.
Outhouses.
Yeah, drill your own wells. Yeah. So we're not going to do that. Everybody, hopefully, everyone understands that this is essential services that are provided, and that comes with a cost. Okay, and then 2031, 32, and 33, RASWAS building, thermodigester, and site improvements. Now we'll be juggling projects around as it's just the snapshot in time back in 2022, but we'll move projects around as needed. Now, also part of the sewer plan is the collection system. We'll be investing $1.6 million per year in pipelining system replacement, where we'll be replacing pipes that are too far beyond the ability to line them, to preserve them. So we'll be doing $1.2 million per year there, and then maintenance projects of about $600,000.
So you said lining them, it's another 70 years, is that what you said?
Uh-huh. It's
That
essentially
basically doubles what you got.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep. And the cost per foot for lining versus replacing is significant. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but it's probably 20% of the cost. So you can do a heck of a lot more lining than you can replacing, and it's less impactful to the neighborhoods, as you're not ripping roads up and forcing them to park elsewhere. So let's jump over to the stormwater master plan. Stormwater master plan is, or the stormwater utility is charged with managing the stormwater.
Yeah.
As it
Separate.
comes, there's a
Separate
series of
pieces,
detention basins and pipelines that convey water that eventually makes its way down to Utah Lake or percolates into the ground and helps to recharge the aquifer. And so we've got a series of projects. A keen eye of someone who's been on the Public Works Advisory Commission for a while will notice West Union Canal. We've talked about that in the past. Have we not done those projects? There's so many projects that have jumped in front of it because of different reasons, many of which are UDOT projects. You'll see here Lakeview Parkway, Geneva Road. These are, with the growth that we're experiencing in Southwest Orem, we've had to divert money from projects that we originally had in the master plan to pay for these more urgent projects. The system's been working, so our desire to get out of the West Union Canal because there are some liability concerns there, and the company just has such few users that eventually it's going to, that company will die, and the condition of the canal is such that it's very cost prohibitive to make it as safe as it should be. It functions, but we want to get out. That said, other projects are jumping in front of those. So Lakeview Parkway, that's project as Lakeview Parkway goes in that we'll need to pay for stormwater improvements there. Geneva Road, the widening project, will pay for our portion of projects down there. There was a project that, a master plan project, one of the West Union Canal projects, to take water from the east side of the city to the Provo River. We made a connection at the Provo River up 400 South to Palisade Drive last year, 2 years ago, and we need to continue that project to the north now on is it 1,000 East or Palisade?
Yes.
Rick?
1,000
1,000 East.
Both of them.
Both, okay.
The first one will be 1,000 east.
Okay. And so we need to extend that to the north to gather stormwater. By gathering stormwater on the east side of the city and conveying it to the Provo River allows us to keep our pipe sizes down going west. So it was a creative solution that we came up with to keep pipe sizes and improvements in the rest of the master plan down, which was a significant cost savings.
What location on Palisade are we looking at? It's south of Center Street, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
So that's not your portion.
Is that adding pipe, you're adding stormwater piping underneath those streets, is that what?
Correct.
I assume you did whatever north of Center when the road was being redone.
There was some mitigation put in there with sumps at that time. There was no pipe system put in, but some sumps was added to kind of mitigate that for a while.
Like Jim, I'm worried about my road, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Well,
but
see,
no
that's
pipes
my
are going to be going
I'm
in
on South
in the
Palisade,
north
so-
end, north of Center Street. That's done, okay?
Sorry about that.
Then we'll jump back onto the West Union Canal abandonment projects.
Before you go, tell me about the 550 South, 700 West. That's my neighborhood.
Yeah, it is.
That's
I knew
where-
you'd bring this up.
That's where Gary Herbert lives. And so just curious what you're
Yeah,
doing there.
Rick, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, there's at the 550 South cul-de-sac on the west end, that's a downsloping cul-de-sac. And there's a pipe that goes north from there into 700 West. And as we TV'd that, there's a house over on the cul-de-sac, on the 700 West cul-de-sac, this pipe goes right underneath their foundation. And it doesn't just go straight, it goes up there, it looks like it's been pushed down or settled down. It goes down about 18 inches, it goes under the house and comes back up. And we're just concerned it's going to cause some problems there.
Yeah, we're worried about that.
I'm assuming that's not Gary's house.
No, that's Brent Sumner's home.
So this
He's off the council.
It's on 550,
Okay.
and pipe it back to the new pipeline that's on 600 West, and eliminate that one that was under the house.
This is an example of it's functioning just fine, but it's not going to at some point. We need to do something.
Interesting. I had
This,
no idea.
this is also an example of what the West Union Canal looks like in many areas on the southwest part of town, where it's snaking in between homes. Sometimes it's underneath a home, whatever. And we're like, we don't want that liability. We have to get out of this. We're not a part of it. We don't own it. We put stormwater into it, but we want to get it out of it.
Isn't that considered private, West Union?
It is private, yeah.
Yeah, back in the day, it was easy to work with the canal companies. The population was low. Hey, can we dump our storm water in here? Sure, go ahead. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
Well, we're paying for it now.
So the 4.8 is to put in alternatives to.
Yeah, I kind of lumped a bunch of them together. This includes a project to convey water, a pipeline down State Street to the Provo River in cooperation with UDOT and Provo. Provo has similar concerns, wanting to convey water in that would be the northwest or northern part of their city, down to the Provo River. So,
And do you own the canal?
you
You said you don't own the West Union?
correct.
No.
West Union Canal is owned by the West Union Canal Irrigation Company, and we just have an agreement to be able to use it as conveyance for our.
We contribute water. We do that. We contribute money in addition to water to the West Union Canal every year for maintenance to help them and assist them.
HB 45 bills come out, it deals with liability for canals, so just
Okay.
be aware of that.
I think that's one that I have on my list. So. If you
HB 45, yeah.
if you see anything concerning, let us know, Rob.
Well, the law's already that way. I think it's just clarifying the law.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Then let's see, 1600 North, 1200 West, $750,000. Geneva Road at $0. You might scratch your head there, but
We can approve that.
Yeah.
Done.
We're not going to bond for that one.
Oh, good.
So,
Pay as you go.
that's how the financing worked out, and with UDOT. UDOT's covering the stormwater portion of this particular Geneva Road project scheduled for 2027.
Is 1600 North in conjunction with UDOT's widening?
Let's see. No, so kind of. So 1600 North. Oh, I wanted to mention real quick. You can see Northeast Orem mitigation this year. So we had the flooding. We've identified some things projects that we can do to help mitigate flooding in Northeast Orem, so that the deluge that we got from
Runs through that
Dry
church
Creek.
parking lot
Yeah.
down into the.
We're trying to mitigate all that
Yep.
with that $500,000. We
Hold
also
on, go back, when is that gonna be done?
our engineers are working on it right now.
Okay.
To come up with some solutions.
That was one of mainly, well, 2 or 3 significant areas where we had flooding. So
One of the areas was 1200 West, and the apartments at, what is it, 1500? 1420 North, 1200 West. Those apartments or condos made the news. So one of the mitigating projects would be to extend the pipe from 1200 West, or the end of UDOT's project, to the west further. It's not part of UDOT's project, but we think it would be a good idea and pull off some of the water that is making its way to that area.
So the water turns south and goes down through that neighborhood. And so we're looking at just continuing it to the west. In the end, they both make it to the same point, which is the Linden Hollow Creek, which is just north of 1600 North Geneva Road. So the water finds its way to that one point to the northwest, but it's a matter of how it gets there, and we're looking to take it out of this area, which is under the FEMA flood map actually, so we want to remove it from that area.
Does that answer your question, Mike?
Yes, just with the 1600 North planned construction and widening, I was wondering which one of these city facilities, are they improving any city facilities?
Yes.
around for you?
Yes. Yeah, they are taking part of our detention basin at Bonneville Park, and so to replace that, they've got a series of detention basins along 1600 North on the south side of the road to replace that, what they've taken, and to handle the additional flows that are expected due to the road widening. West Union Canal.
Is that 2028 a replication of the previous slide, or is it the same? 2026, 2028?
Oh yeah. All right, you win the gold star.
He found it.
He found it. We always put something wrong in our presentations to see
That's
who's
what
paying
attorneys do.
attention. So 2028. I don't. Are some other important projects. So 2028 has, let's see, looks like those are more West Union Canal projects.
Okay.
So,
Just different area, same price, same estimate, I mean?
yeah, well, it's going to be similar.
Okay.
Slowly chipping away at it. All right, jump to the major projects of the Water Master Plan. Just tossing these up here so that you're reminded of them. We've got the well that was drilled at 400 South and 400 West. It's drilled and capped. The tank is complete. It's been leak tested. They found there's some leaks that need to be repaired. They filled it full of water, and it's currently filled with water, and we'll be draining that so that they can fix the leaks. It's been backfilled. If you've driven by it,
Is it done?
it's not completely done, but it's 90%. It's probably 4 feet from the top.
They get in there.
Yep. And so they'll be landscaping that this coming spring. It will continue to be closed to the public because the construction that will continue to go on there, which is the 2025 projects. So $18.7 million for the tank, and then it actually ended up costing more than that. Tank project piping, so that's where your area's neighborhood got blown up.
Yep, still is.
Yep, that's true. We had to go back.
1200 west, no, 800 west and 800 south, still
Yep.
there.
Yep. So we've got stormwater and drain pipe in there. We've got gravity line to feed water to the southwest area. Those are the two big projects that really blew up that neighborhood. This week, the bids for the booster station and the well house will close, and we'll know how much, what that's going to cost. The booster pump station is needed to pump water into the central zone, and then of course the well house. We've drilled the well. We need to put a structure around it and put the pumps in our 950-foot well so that we can pump water out of the ground and into the tank. So that's what will be happening this year, and we'll know how much that's going to cost. I think it's on Wednesday. We'll also have pipe replacement going on. We've got about $1 million each year for that. Booster station, that's wrong too. Yeah, I must have been, don't know what I was doing. Aquifer recharge, we put $1.1 million in there for an aquifer recharge project that we're considering doing. We work with the North Utah Valley Aquifer Recharge Association. Is that what the name? North Utah County
Groundwater aquifer recharge with Central Utah Water.
Aquifer Council.
Aquifer Council. So Central Utah is part of that. Just aquifer recharge is taking clean water and putting it into the ground for storage, and then pulling it out later. So there's some areas in northeast Orem that could be ideal for aquifer recharge. 2028, that's where we jump into well number 1 replacement. Well number 1 is in the Hillcrest area. It's one of our oldest wells, and
It is the oldest.
is it?
I think it was.
Yeah, it's called number 1.
It was drilled in like the 50s, wasn't it? Was it 58 or so?
Yeah, and it was re-drilled. It was drilled before that, and it was re-drilled right there by that.
Yeah.
Probably farmland around there.
Yep.
Back then.
It's interesting, if you ever drive by it, you won't even know it's there because it's underground. And it's not the safest well house, if you will. Chlorine is heavier than air, oxygen, so it tends to settle, and it could be a problem for those operators there. We want to get that out of the ground. We want to relocate it altogether at another location by Hillcrest Park.
We own that property, so it helps.
Yes,
Yep.
yeah. We have a new point of diversion that's established and approved by the state engineer at Hillcrest. Just a matter of us developing that location, that site.
Then some piping improvements on 1600 North to increase capacity. You guys are looking at 1600 North too, so we'll continue to discuss that. More 4-inch pipe replacement, that's an ongoing project. 2029, new well number 11 at 1600 North. The property that's just, we own property just east of the what's the Wiggy? No, it's Quick Quack. Thanks. The Quick Quack there. That's the site that we're looking at. More 4-inch pipe replacement. So now we're jumping to the next steps.
Is that the one where you said that you had a property owner kind of push back on you? 1600 North? I think you talked about that a couple of months ago.
They have the project that was done by the BYE students, the
Yeah, okay, yeah. So
memorial type.
Yeah.
a memorial.
That's might be what you're thinking
That
of.
might be what I'm thinking,
We're,
yeah.
we're working together with that and developing some kind of a smaller memorial for
Is
that
the
location right
same
there.
location as this you're talking
Yeah.
about?
So there's enough room there to accommodate both.
So we had hoped and we were on track to have our financial consultant present here, but Chris and I realized, you know what, we should probably review these projects with PWAC before we show them how we're going to pay for it. So we will be finalizing the financial plan soon, and we'll have Fred Philpott with Lewis Robertson Birmingham come to our next meeting to show how we're going to pay for this, or the recommendations that we will make to the City Council on how to pay for this. We've been fortunate that as we presented these plans to the City Council in the recent past, that they recognize the importance of this and have supported it in work sessions that we've discussed these. So we're hopeful that that this will go through, that they will continue to be supportive of this, and work with city management to make sure that we come up with the most palatable way to pay for these projects. We don't like huge jumps. In fact, some might argue it was a huge jump in our sewer base rate last year, but that was in anticipation of this. Okay, let's bump it up $4.50 per household, per connection, and plan on something like that for the next for this coming year as well, to pay for this first set of
So we have a little
bonds.
reserve money built up.
We do have some reserve money, and we're spending that as well. That's included in the rate study.
Just so you know, so we're not the only ones that are regulated, right? Our cost for this facility back in 2023 for the water reclamation facility is $160 million to get it up to the new standards that are being imposed across the board statewide for everybody. Provo City is looking at about double that amount in 2023 dollars. Who knows what it's going to be in the end, but it's over $360 million for their upgrades. TSSD was going to be around $600-700 million. Salt Lake City will probably be lucky to not hit $1 billion on their facility upgrades. And so, as you might imagine, then all of the rates and that we compare against other communities, we're gonna be increasing, but others are going to be increasing as well. I don't anticipate that we're going to be at the top end for sewer, but we're going to be in the middle or below middle on that. Our water rates are lower than almost everybody, except for maybe one or two in our comparables of 20 other communities. And of course, those change from year to year. But they also have the similar standards and so forth that we have to meet. So we'll give a comparison on rates and what we're looking at against others in our other similar cities, municipalities, sizes, and so forth. But I anticipate that our rates will be very competitive and lower than the vast majority of those that we compare against. So we're going to lean into impact fees as well. I know it's kind of, Tom, it's diametrically opposed to the philosophy of making affordable housing, but at the same time, the constituents that you have also want them to buy in to the system, and they don't want to be subsidizing them as well.
And they buy into the parks and the roads.
The parks, the roads,
Yeah.
police, fire,
Yeah.
water, sewer, storm, everything. So it's a challenge. We recognize that. And then also we're going to look at getting as many grants as possible, or low interest loans or rates and so forth. We're going to be as good fiduciaries as best we can and trying to keep the rates down as low as possible. And Lewis Young Robertson Birmingham, now Lewis Robertson Birmingham, will help us and assist us with that. We are meeting with them today, as Reed mentioned, and the next meeting that we propose to have is on February 18th. And Fred Philpott will be here at that, representing Lewis Robertson Birmingham, with this financial summary of the rates and how we're going to pay for these.
And the reason that we'll be presenting it to this group is we rely on the Public Works Advisory Commission to endorse stuff that Public Works is doing. If we go there and say, yes, this has been reviewed by the Public Works Advisory Commission, it lends a lot of weight to the city council to be able to say, okay, this has been looked at by another set of independent eyes. So we encourage you to look at the master plans, ask questions about the projects, and when we get the rate study, we'll send that out to you so that you'll have a sneak preview of what we will be presenting, so that you can see what's going to be proposed to the city council for their consideration, and hopefully it would be endorsed by this group. This group has been very proactive in years past of investment in the infrastructure that the city is responsible for it understands the need that ongoing maintenance and investment in these facilities is essential for us to continue to provide services. So once we have that financial plan and it's reviewed by PWAC, it will be presented to the city council at a work session. We'll have an abbreviated presentation of the projects that we'll be doing here, and then most discussion will likely be on how we're going to pay for the financial plan. They will also be we'll also be presenting the impact fee facility plan, which pulls out the pertinent projects of the master plan and assigns a cost to the buy-in portion of development. And then we will have the city council adopt the plans and the rate studies and impact fees, and we continue charging down the road and getting these projects done. So that's what I've got for you today. We've asked questions all along. What other thoughts have you had? Thoughts, questions?
This last page, you might want to have a quick look at too. This provides a summary. I don't know if you have it on this. But as you look at all three utilities, the total over the next 9 years, let's see, is $320 million. So that's for all three utilities. In year one, in 2025, we're looking at 61, all the way down through year 2033 at 22. So,
and a lot of that is like the 4-inch replacement is just ongoing, 1.4 million, or sewer line replacement of 1.5 million, pipelining. So
Reed and Chris, we're careful not to be putting in normal maintenance into a bond, right? These are all for long-term
Correct.
projects.
That's
correct.
Of 40 or more years or something.
correct.
Yeah, these are really they're 50 to 100 year project lifespan on these projects. What we're looking at targeting for bonding. The bond market isn't the most favorable right now either.
No,
So
despite what you would think with rates
yeah,
dropping.
yeah. So
If you've invested in bonds, you've seen they haven't been all that great lately.
yeah. On the flip side, we've noticed as
But we do have the tax-free benefit. Sorry, Chris.
as we've obtained the bond dollars, and we have accrued a large amount of interest on the flip side of that
Oh, that's
too.
right, on our earnings.
Yeah, on the earnings. So we have over $1 million of interest earnings probably for bonds that we issued a couple of years ago, that $30 million bond that we did. So it has helped to some degree on that side as well.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Well, that's all I've got for you, Jim. So,
Appreciate it, Reed. One question I did have in going through the stuff that you emailed out, I was amazed at the number of private stormwater lines that are out there. It's almost half.
yeah,
How do you deal with those?
yeah, Rick, I'll let you respond.
We're regulated on ours, and that's what we do the maintenance on. We don't do the maintenance on any of the private stuff, but we do try to locate them and keep records on where they're at. We supply that to the state. I'm talking about sumps now. But you're right. Provo, or Orem, comes out of the Provo Canyon on this alluvial fan, and for years they just put sumps everywhere. And so that's why you don't see a big dollar figure up here for rehabilitation of pipes, because we don't have that many pipes to rehabilitate. And the number you look at private, them are little teeny short pieces, from this sump to that sump, and then out to the street, just over and over and over again for all the different businesses, but it does add up.
Yeah.
So we don't have a lot of trunk lines that go all the way out to west. We do have some, we're getting more all the time, but they have all these little chunks that are just, from business to business or whatever. And so it does add up.
Yeah, I was amazed at that. So.
That's true with conveyance systems and with sumps and manholes and stuff.
So leaning into that a little bit on the private side of stormwater conveyances, all of the canal systems to some degree have been a stormwater conveyance system over time, over the many years and decades that they've been established. And those canal systems are going away. We project that the West Union Canal, we thought that it probably would have been done by now. There's some small quantities of shareholders that provide water still on the west side of Orem in the West Union Canal. The Provo Bench Canal and the North Union Canal systems they're following the same path. They're going to be going away sooner than later, I believe. A lot of the shares are being purchased by Central Utah Water to be able to take that water and to divert it elsewhere to be used for culinary water systems. But there are willing sellers, and there's a willing buyer. There's more than one willing buyer. And so what happens if you don't have enough water to divert and to push it through to all of the shareholders that are on the far west side of town, then they're going to start selling because the water can't get to them anymore. It's not rocket science, but as the shareholders, as the amount of water that's available goes away, that water can get pushed to the end of the canal to deliver water to those people, and so they're going to be willing sellers of their shares.
Interesting.
So Provo Bench, North Union Canal are two big canals on the east side of Orem.
Okay, thanks again, Reed.
You bet.
Chris, any other business that you have?
If you'd like, and Reed, we can share all of the documents for the master plans. In addition to that, we'll be sharing with you the impact fee plans and those studies, and then also the rate study as we receive that from Lewis, Robertson, Birmingham. We'll be getting that to you as soon as we get those.
Okay.
And we'd like to meet again then on February 18th. And then we'll have Fred Philpott here from Lewis, Robertson, Birmingham making that presentation.
Okay, sounds good.
Maybe just a quick, to make the budgeting timeline clear, the city council will be looking at specifically to rates throughout the city in around March. This is the prime budgeting season right now, where as staff we're creating these operational budgets, capital improvement project budgets, and so rate increases will be considered by the city council around March. The tentative budget will be adopted, I believe it's in May, with final adoption in June. So that's kind of the time frame that we have.
Okay. Just did you have something?
No.
Oh, you're raising your hand?
I don't count.
No,
I
yes
was
you
told
do.
that when I walked in.
No, we said you don't matter.
Yeah, okay. Even lower.
No. On the flip side, Tom was on our original PWAC representation as a city council member when this was created back in 2014.
Yeah.
And here we are 11 years later, and Tom's still supporting us. I'd like to say you do matter, Tom, and we appreciate your help and getting us going in the right direction. Quite frankly, 10 or 11 years ago when we created this, we were like, should we create this committee? It's going to be a lot of work, but it's to me it's vital. It's super important, and I appreciate your commitment and your help and support. What we do here, I think, matters a lot for our community, and we're creating a foundation for not just our families here, but future generations. As you can see, we have plans that are going to be providing services for the next 75 years and beyond, and we'll need to continue to do it forever.
Yeah.
So thank you for your help and your service.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
All right.
February 18th.
I think I took you.
Okay, thank you all.
Vacation.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I do. You were swimming too, I guess.
About a year and a half.
Okay. 30 plus. 2 miles a couple times a week. I've been able to resist those donuts despite the smell. And I'm still going to resist it. I'm going to grab a drink.
You only live once.